Democracy means rule by the people. But the people never share identical interests and goals. Instead, as Abraham Lincoln observed in his first inaugural address, we divide into majorities and minorities with sometimes sharply conflicting views on matters of great importance. Majority vote is a decision rule intended to resolve such disagreements peacefully, but nothing guarantees that the majority's aims are wise or just. And sometimes opinions on important issues are so diverse and fragmented that no majority position exists at all. Deep and increasingly bitter conflicts plague many contemporary democracies, including the United States, where political polarization is greater now than at any time since the 1870s, when the wounds of the Civil War were still fresh. The institution of slavery no longer exists in the United States, but willingness to resort to extreme measures rather than accept adverse election results, which in 1860 was the flashpoint for secession and Civil War, has returned as a significant factor in today's deeply polarized American politics. Today, the future of American democracy appears uncertain in the wake of a violent insurrection on January 6, 2021, fueled by a defeated incumbent president's false claims of a stolen election. That insurrection failed to halt the constitutionally prescribed counting of electoral votes in Congress, and in that respect, America's democratic institutions demonstrated their resilience. But the continued acceptance of the stolen election narrative by a significant minority of the U.S. population suggests that the degree of trust on which any system of democratic election depends has suffered significant erosion. Increasing numbers of Americans, especially on the political right but evident at both ends of the political spectrum, regard the resort to political violence as legitimate. The post-election insurrection of 2021 differed in some obvious respects from the post-election pre-inauguration secessions of late 1860 and early 1861. The preemptive secessionists did not invent specious claims of a stolen election. Instead, they frankly acknowledged that Lincoln's position on slavery and the fact that he had been elected almost entirely by Northern voters motivated their act. Moreover, the secessionists were far more numerous, powerful, and consequential than the insurrectionists who assaulted the Capitol on January 6th. But the preemptive secessionists of 1860-61 and the insurrectionists of 2021 shared a fundamental unwillingness to accept the legitimacy of an election that turned out differently than they had hoped. Unless citizens with deeply opposed views can agree to play by a shared set of political rules, democracy becomes impossible and is replaced by warfare. This book examines Abraham Lincoln's thoughtful, hopeful statement of democracy's promise that popular self-government, through the procedure of constitutional majority rule, is capable of peacefully addressing not merely routine political questions, but even the most deeply divisive ones. Indeed, that only in this way can the most divisive questions be peacefully managed. But this study also highlights how difficult it can be to assemble a majority capable of acting effectively on critical questions, to prevent a majority from acting unjustly toward a minority, and to persuade members of a powerful minority to accept the results of democratic decisions that do not go their way.